Hi, Dustin Lacey here, Vice President of Marketing Technology at Mark Taylor Residential. We are a owner-operator based out of Phoenix. We manage 30,000 Class A units. So we're year 3 with iApartments as a partner for Mark Taylor. iApartments originally was our solution for smart home. What we didn't realize is that we were getting additional value from efficiencies and cost savings around our ability to do things like turn a unit more quickly, reduce energy costs for vacant units, allowing our teams access via their mobile device versus having to chase down a key. From a prospect and applicant perspective, self-guided touring has been a phenomenal aspect of our shift to a centralized operating motion. It's been very important for us to allow immediacy and enablement with our Class A prospects as they're looking to tour on their schedule, not having to reconcile both their schedule and our schedule. Reducing the workload associated has improved their ability to tour, which has downstream improved our ability to convert them from a lead who tours themselves to a resident at Mark Taylor. We chose iApartments after polling our residents as to what drives a buying decision for them. We wanted to know whether the absence of or the inclusion of smart home would be a differentiator as they're making a decision around a home. And what we found was it absolutely is a differentiator. It's a distinction. If you don't have it, they note it. And if you do have it, it's a distinction and becomes a value add that helps drive the yes relative to joining Mark Taylor. Expanding their optionality around tour times has really allowed us to transform our business operationally. We're seeing lead to tour rates and tour to lease conversion rates that are equivalent to in-person. We've since launched our 5th and 6th pod. From a centralized standpoint, we have properties that are fully closed. Without self-guided touring, we would never be able to do that. Yes, we still offer and afford in-person touring, but self-guided touring has meant that our prospects, they whom we call the modern millennial, that's our target demographic, have the ability to choose when they tour. It's enabling them to say yes to our product. It's in fact reinforcing this notion of value. We have 4 fully closed properties, and then the balance of our centralized communities are hybrid, which means we have a reduced staff footprint. We recognize that centralized is the operating model of the future. Without self-guided touring, without a partnership like iApartments, who delivers not only quality hardware, but also the app experience for our residents that's the best in the industry, we wouldn't be able to make that pivot. Over the last 12 months, we've seen 3,500 self-guided tours across our 110 Class A properties, which has saved our leasing teams and in fact allowed us to really realize this centralized operational pivot because we've saved almost 2,500 hours in in-person touring time at no cost to our conversion rate, tour to lease. You can standardize and operationalize a single partner. The value add there is from a training perspective. You're not having to train multiple platforms, right? So your teams are able to move effortlessly from one property to another, which is consistent with any large operator in our space. You're moving pieces and personnel often. And what you can't have is requiring a person who managed at property A, who's now been moved to property B, suddenly have to learn and understand and operationalize a whole new software stack, right? And so the benefit of centralization for Mark Taylor is our ability to create specialists, which improves the service level, it drives out costs, but it also allows us to standardize our operating model across our entire portfolio. So irrespective of if we're in Phoenix or if we're operating in Las Vegas, or if we have one of our consulting partners who are in 7 other states outside of Arizona and Nevada, we're able to consistently deliver the same performance levels because we're not asking too much of our property teams. It's clear how to operate at Mark Taylor. The standards, the expectations, the software is the same, regardless of if you're a property A or property Z. Mark Taylor rolled out our MT Plus program, which is a value program exclusive to Mark Taylor residents, which included iApartments. Rents and retention matter, right? And a happy renter, a happy resident, improves the probability of retention, allows us to achieve market-leading rates, which Mark Taylor does in the Phoenix metro area and in Las Vegas. We believe iApartments has been a key ingredient in communicating the value of Mark Taylor, not only to prospective residents, but to current residents, reinforcing this notion that they've made a good buying decision with Mark Taylor. When we look at the future and we envision what operations can look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we recognize that fundamentally you have to have some really critical pieces in place to underpin the larger shift. And we at Mark Taylor feel like we're literally on the tip of the iceberg. Yes, we've centralized lead gen, lead management, resident management, maintenance, all these different aspects of the operating model. But when you talk about closing properties in full, which we feel is the future for a community, one of your starting points before you can do any of that is to identify a strong smart home partner, which is why we've been able to move forward and make the progress we have operationally 3 years into our centralized pivot because we partnered with an iApartments.